What's happening? It's John from Law and Punk Band Wrecked again. Had a little bit of time in this short week. Figured I'd show you, anybody who cares, another 5 albums. These aren't particularly any ones that I've bought recently. I went through the rack and just picked out 5 that I felt I had something to say on. So, like I said, I have a little bit of time. 4th of July weekend's coming up, so looking forward to that. So here's 5 records that I just picked, and I hope you get something out of it. So here's the first one. This one here, it's the Jesus and Mary chain, Stoned and Dethroned. I gotta admit, when I was in high school, I heard of these guys, and I wasn't a huge fan of them. But Hope Sandoval from Mazzy Star sings on one of these songs, and that's worth the price of admission, because if you know Mazzy Star, they did the Fade Into You song, but I mean they're the depth of their output is just astounding. Just the quality of it. It wasn't just Fade Into You. It was everything after that. They had 3 great albums in the '90s. They broke up, and then they came out with a couple of singles, another album after that, and then the songwriter and guitar player David Roback passed away this year. So that was really a bummer, because they were some band. But anyway, she sings on one of these songs, Sometimes Always. And this is great. This is like real, 90s alt rock, you want to call it, psych rock, guitar rock, I call it. I mean, that's why I like it. It's got real jangly guitars, enough distortion on to sink your teeth into. So I actually had thought about seeing Jesus and Mary chain when they were playing with 9 Inch Nails at Radio City Music Hall a couple of years ago. I didn't go though, and I feel kind of, I'm kind of bummed that I didn't. But hopefully they'll come around again. Again, Scottish band. They have a bunch of records too. This is my favorite one though, and that's about it. That's for this one. Okay, next one is a little bit of a guilty pleasure of mine. Hootie and the Blowfish. It's gonna be their first album, called Crack Rear View. I don't even feel I have to even talk about this. Every song's fucking good. Hannah Jane, Hold My Hand, Let Her Cry, Only Want to Be With You. Running from an Angel, Going Home. Drowning, Time, Look Away, Not Even the Trees, and Goodbye. That's 11 songs, and I can tell you 7 or 8 of them are fucking hits. I hated this album when it came out, because it was so sweet sounding, so produced. I mean, what did this come out, 94? Yeah, 94. 94, I'm into, bands like Death, Morbid Angel, Obituary. I'm not listening to this. And plus it was on every radio station, every that you'd hear. And so I was into it, but I am into it now. And I put this on every now and again just to fucking get into it. And you just put it on and leave it alone. Got the cool yellow vinyl. Again, these guys, the second album I think was called Fairweather Johnson. And it was decent. It wasn't as good as this though. This had all the hits on it. And they were a tight band. Darius Rucker's vocals were right there, man. Real low, what do you call it, baritone maybe? I don't know. They had that, almost that 90s grunge, Eddie Vedder, that kind of thing, But it was right for the times, and this is phenomenal. And I'll go to the electric chair defending this album. All right, let's see what else we got here. All right, I'm going to this guy. This also doesn't need any introductions. This is Shout at the Devil by Motley Crue. This is actually the original album I had since I was a kid. And beat. But the one cool thing about it, check this out. It's got the original insert for the mail away. You could buy all sorts of shit. Baseball jerseys, sleeveless t-shirts, wallets, armbands, headbands, whatever you want. I had actually ordered the armband. I wanted the Motley Crue pentagram armband. Never came. Most of my mother said, I don't know, maybe she didn't want me walking around with a pentagram on my arm at 8 years old. But this is back in the day where you had to, fill out the bottom, little, get up close there, fill out the bottom, mail it in, and hope for the best. But my sister had brought this, she had the tape actually. This is my original album. She had the tape. And she had brought it home, and I had never heard anything like this. And I thought these guys, we use that term loosely, thought they were girls, to be honest with you. Especially Vince. Looked like but obviously not. Just I was very confused. But they were heavy, man. And for the first Too Fast for Love is a great album, but this one really, I mean, from start to finish, really started heavy metal, American heavy metal, at least for me. Because at that time you had what Quiet Riot was around, American heavy metal, and nobody did it like this though. And these guys had that, almost like a New York Dolls influence, punk influence, especially on the first album. You could hear it on the first album. That real, the guitar solos are real blues based. The songs are quick songs. You definitely hear the punk influence on it. And this album is without fail. I mean, you can't go wrong with Shout the Devil. Not really much else to say about it. But if you don't know about it, I feel sorry for you. Okay, we're going to go the same year. I believe the same year. 83. Black Sabbath, Born Again. This is Black Sabbath version 3 with Ian Gillan from Deep Purple on the vocals. Now, I've talked about Black Sabbath. My exposure to Black Sabbath was actually from Ozzy Osbourne's "Speak of the Devil." Those were all Black Sabbath songs, and I didn't know. And so the only Black Sabbath that I could associate with was this album, because this is the only one they really had in the stores up front, on the end caps, and I'm a little 8-year-old, and this is what I see. It's horrifying, Well, shit, I mean, it's goofy now, but I mean, I still think it's cool. I'd get the t-shirt if they made one. But when I saw this, I was like, oh man, these guys are fucking crazy. And again, pairing right with Child of the Devil, with the satanic imagery. And I was like, oh, Black Sabbath, man, that sounds great. And you have Trashed on here and Zero the Hero. That's all I can give a shit about. The rest of the songs, honestly, I think Disturbing the Priest is decent. Digital Bitch was okay, I think. I don't know the rest of them that well. But I can tell you this, Trashed and Zero the Hero are fucking phenomenal. And this album gets, and Ian Gillan gets got bad reviews for this, but I don't see why. I mean, this is a solid record, and I really wish they would have done more with him, with Ian Gillan, because I think he fit in well with that band. I mean, you have the purists that only like Ozzy or only like Dio, and those other two shitheads. What was it? Tony Martin and the other dude. I think we opened for him. What was it, Glenn Hughes? Maybe did he play? He might have. I might be mixing shit up, but anyways, I didn't like after this album for Black Sabbath. It doesn't get good again until Dehumanizer. I think that was '92 with Dio on again, and then listen, Black Sabbath can do no wrong. They made the first 6 albums. As far as I'm concerned, they get a pass. But this is an underrated record, and anybody you're into Sabbath, you're into Doom, you're into stoner, sludge rock, you have to hear this. I mean, this is really fucking good. Again, it didn't do well from what I understand, and Ian Gillan left after this, and that was it. And I don't know who they get after him. I forget who they did, but it wasn't too good. I remember that Bill Ward left, Geezer Butler left. I remember it was Tony Iommi by himself for a while, so whatever. We're going to go for the last one. This one, let me take it out of the jacket here, show you. Oh, it doesn't really help. Entombed, 666, To Ride, Shoot Straight, and Speak the Truth. This album came out in 1997. If you're not familiar with Entombed is a Swedish death metal band who, for all intents and purposes, pioneered the Scandinavian death metal sound. They had 3 albums before this. The first 2 were Left Hand Path and Clandestine. And they were they wrote the blueprint of Scandinavian, Swedish death metal. Buzzsaw guitars, real lo-fi recorded drums, guttural vocals. As a kid, when I heard Entombed, I was right. Because I was right up with them, because it was at the same time I'm into Morbid Angel, Deicide, Death, Obituary. And then I'm getting into the European death metal, and I was like anything else, when you're a kid, you just want as much as you can from it. And I was anything I could get, anything that they mentioned in it was Metal Maniacs magazine or whatever it was, whatever band that they were talking, I was trying to get. And back then you couldn't, listen to these bands without buying the records. And I bought a lot of shit, but I mean, you took your chance. But Entombed, they're still around now. I think Entombed AD they called because the singer left and they couldn't use the name. This album, though, I want to talk about in particular. After the whole death metal genre was pretty much dead, run its course, there was something weird that happened. And I think what happened was Pantera had become very popular for an extreme metal band. And a lot of death metal bands were kind of slowing down, kind of getting more groove into them, a lot of bands, Sepultura did it. Off the top of my head, I can't think of it anymore, but everybody did. All the metal bands, Brutal Truth did it, I think. They slowed it down a bit because that's what was in vogue at the time. Death metal had run its course. Entombed, though, they came out with Wolverine Blues, which was, they called it Death and Roll, which was, death metal rock and roll. And they incorporated more 70s guitar into it, more groove-oriented drums. And they continued it with this album. And this album is cover to cover phenomenal. And Entombed fans hate this album. I think it's their best album, honestly. I mean, Left Hand Path is its own thing again, but this is, just phenomenal. And what got me, they didn't skimp on the evil lyrics. They didn't skimp on the heaviness of the guitar. It wasn't lightning speed riffing. It was heavy riffing, and it was just pummels you from start to finish. It's a very loud record. That's the other thing. It's very fucking loud. And honestly, the driving force behind this band is this guy Nicky Anderson. He's a drummer. He also sang on their second album, Clandestine, because I think the singer left, Lars Petrov, I think he is. I think it is. Yeah, LG, Lars Petrov. He left the band. So Nicky Anderson did the vocals, but the Lars came back and everything was good. But this particular lineup, Nicky Anderson on drums, Uffe Monster Cedarlund on guitar, Alex Hellett on guitar was another phenomenal guitar player, and LG Petrov on the vocals. Jorgen Sandstrom on the bass, either way. But I mean, this was panned by everybody when it came out, but I think it's phenomenal. It's like this with the Devil, Lights Out, Somewhat Peculiar is great, Just As Sad, Boats, and a song called Wreckage, which is great, because I used to have a band, Wreckage, and named after this song. But again, it's because of Nicky Anderson. Nicky Anderson went on to form the Helicopters, and he also formed a band, Imperial State Electric. Those are more pop bands, and I think the Helicopters, they actually won a Swedish Grammy, or a few of them. So they're very, very popular overseas. They didn't hit very well here, but they were a big band. They're pretty good, the Helicopters. They have a shit ton of albums, and I have a couple on CD, and I never got into them, but I think at this point I probably can. But it's Nicky Anderson's game right here, So yeah, I would anybody, if you're into rock and roll, death rock and roll, check this out. It's evil. It's good. 2 guitars, loud as fuck, and it's one of those albums which I've not stopped listening to since 1997. It came out, and again, because it's 666, of course I'm easy. I'm fucking easy. When it comes to this shit, you just put something evil on and I'm buying it. But again, great fucking album, and I really strongly suggest anybody, if you're into that kind of stuff, to listen to it, because it does get a bad reputation for being soft. It's not soft. But the other thing in parting that I got to talk about, the lyrics to this album. These guys are Swedish guys. English is not their first language. To write lyrics like this guy writes in a foreign language is just beyond me. And yeah, you can't understand the lyrics because he's shouting them. The guitars are way loud. The drums are way loud. But if you read these lyrics, man, he really is a prolific songwriter. Petrov. He really has a way with the English language, which is strange. Because to me, I only know English, and that's barely I know English, right? But I would check this out. Again, all the rest of them too, I I don't have anything new coming because, like I said in the last video, I'm not gonna have much time. You know, a lot of shit's going on. Things are really ramping up at work. So you know, weather's nice and we got some shit coming on. So I might put another video up with some more albums that I feel like I have something to say. But I figured I'd talk about a few of these. Again, thank you for watching. Have a great 4th of July weekend. Have a safe one. Don't be blowing off any cherry bombs. You know, leave that to the drunk your drunk neighbors. All right, have a good one. Thank you.